Before I get much further into this story, that I honor my parents for their role in my life at this point. I honor them for every decision they made and everything that we went through together. I do not hold that against them. I do not. I honor them because they are the vessels that got me here, and they are the vessels that taught me the lessons that allowed me to become who I wanted to embody. All right. Part 4 of an overview of my story. So back to this 11-year-old range. I can remember my mom, she called the police on me like regularly, and I mean regularly. And I can remember one time one of my little sisters said something basically just like my mom, just being ugly to me. And we were folding laundry, and I was across the room from her, and I threw a pair of socks at her for what she said. I swear to God, I threw a folded up pair of socks at her. And my mom came in the room, flipped her fucking shit on me. I mean, acted like I had tried to murder her or some shit, like I would. So she calls the police, right? They get there. My mom is out there talking to the police. Finally, she goes inside and leaves me with the police officers that are out there. There's 2 police officers out there. They'd come assuming that there was some kind of violent situation going on with the way my mom was behaving, right? Well, when they talked to me, they were literally laughing. They were like, okay, so you got angry and you threw the socks at your sister. I was like, yes sir, I did that. And they start laughing. And they're just like, I don't remember verbatim what they said, but I remember that it was just like, look, this seems like a really shitty situation that you're in, and your mama seems crazy as fuck, and we can't help with that. So maybe just try to lay a little more low, kind of thing. They were just like, you're not in trouble for throwing the socks, son. Just try to get along with your mom somehow. And so they kind of had a little chuckle. I was still fucking furious, but I felt so good in that moment. Like, I finally, for a moment, felt validated and not just, I don't know, whatever it was that she was doing to me. Well, I did get to go to my first boot camp at 12. And for real, it was the easiest one that I went to. Like, there were some difficult times, and absolutely don't get me wrong, when I say it was the easiest one that I went to, I'm still a 12-year-old little boy who just went through 12 years of the craziest fucking shit and wishing I could just have some kind of normalcy about my life. But never got it. So I can remember very clearly that first night in this boot camp, and that shit that shit about broke me. But at the same time, like, I had my own little space. I cried myself to sleep that first night, but I felt pretty safe, you know. I just remember it being like really heartbreaking and at the same time kind of peaceful, and I felt like more mature and more like I had my own, like, okay, this is me here. And I rocked that place, like, fucking with flying colors. I got out in the shortest amount of time that you can get out because I was a good kid. And with some structure and some goals, my goal was to not be locked up in this place. I was able to do amazing. And when I was able to blend in, and as long as people were respectful for me, which was most everybody, everything was fine. The deal when I was younger would come when you disrespect me, because if you disrespect me, you lost my respect. That was the bottom line. So yes, at 12 years old, I was doing PT, you know, like getting up at 4 or 5 in the morning, and it was just straight up boot camp style. This was just not really an abusive boot camp. I went to those later. This place was actually not that bad, and there was a lot of good people there that were really wanting to be a part of helping these children and things in need. And it was really confusing being in this place, because there were so many kids there that their moms had their back, like their families had their back, and their families would come and do all these things with them and for them. Like they would provide different things, and they would do things trying to get them out. Like all these kids were court ordered because of either some shit that they had gotten into and done, or I don't know, it just there's a infinite number of stories. But it just blew my mind, because my mom was not. Like, she was not. I would have to beg her for anything. The therapist the whole time we're there, you could tell the therapist is like really trying to figure out the root of what in the fuck is going on, like why I'm here and things. And they know all the abuse and things that I've went through, and she can see how fucking sweet I am and stuff. Cookie, get out of that, bro, please. Thank you. What's going on here? Get out of that place in 4.5 months. I'm back at home. And my mom is so proud that I did so well in this place, and it went right back. It went right fucking back to the same thing. Why? Because there was no structure. It was just chaos. I was never seen. I was never heard. I was used and manipulated, and I wouldn't put up with it. I just wouldn't. I would for a while. Is that a feather? I would for a while, but once you cross my boundary or that line, like I was going to let you know. So I end up going to several different places. Like I just keep getting in and out, in and out, in and out, because every time I get out of one of these places, you're required, like you have to stay on probation for 6 months or however long it was, and you have to continue to comply with the rules of the probation. And the rules of the probation are basically just to go to school and comply with my mother, right? And I did okay in school, but as far as getting along with my angry mother, I know, like it just wasn't happening. So she would just keep calling. And I would just keep getting locked up. So eventually I started running away. I started staying away from home and stuff. I would rather be independent, and there were times when I had to eat out of a trash can. Not many times, but there was a couple times that it got like that. But I would have rather been doing that than being at home, or whatever you want to call it, with the family that didn't actually include me. Of course, I mean, there was no family. It was blah. By the time I was 16, I had really had enough, and I was just trying to do my own thing, period. So I did develop different not great habits to deal with life and things. And I lost my virginity at 16. I started smoking weed at 16, something that I said I would never do because of my dad.